Hi. Yeah, I'm Wendy. I work at CFAS in the UK. I'm just going to talk through some of the work we did on generating or understanding the economic impact of recreational sea angling in the UK. To preface, I'm not actually an economist, so I'll do my best to get the words right. Oh, there we go. So as you probably all know, sea angling is an important activity with high participation rates in the UK that can impact fish stocks, but also has important economic and social benefits within the UK. And we needed some economic data to support the development of marine recreational fisheries in the UK and support decisions on the allocation of fishing resources. So we used the Sea Angling Diary data, which is our diary program that's been running in the UK since 2016. So anglers sign up to be part of the diary to record their catch and their fishing trip activity. And we were able to use these diarists to run an economic survey. So we asked the diarists that participate in the diary program to fill out a survey we did it across 3 years, so in 2021, 2017 and 2016. We did it slightly differently each year. So in 2016 we asked them 3 times to try and reduce any recall bias, twice in 2017, and then because we found that it was asking too much of the diarists, we then reduced that just to 1 survey in 2021, and we asked them to fill out a range of to give us what they spent on a range of different categories. So we asked what they spent on their last trip for these categories, so things like how much they spent on accommodation, food, drink, parking, and various other things for what on their last trip. And then we asked them how much they spent over the last 12 months on some major item spends, so things like rods and clothing and things that would last more than 1 trip, like boats and engines and things. And then I'll just skip to the next one. So this is the general process we followed for analysing this. We had the survey from the diary programme, and we were able to get their fishing behaviour, demographics and expenditures. And then, sorry, I'm trying to remember what we did. So this is kind of the flow. So we have a water sports participation survey where we can get the total number of anglers and days fished within the UK, and that's modelled from that. And then we combine that with what they spent on their last trip and what they spent on their capital spend. So we raised the average amount from the last trip to the total numbers of days fished in the UK. And then we raised their capital spend to the total number of anglers within the UK. And then we we did some post-stratification for a range of characteristics. So in 2021, 2017, we post-stratified for avidity, so people who fished. We had our regular ones, people that fished for less than 20 trips per year, and then frequent people who fished for over 20 days a year. And then by platform, so shore and boat only, or shore only anglers and boat anglers, so because they tended to spend different amounts on different categories. And then in 2016 we split based on age and avidity. Then we raised that to total number of anglers for the capital spend and the total number of days fished for our trip spend. And that was generated through Bayesian modelling of our water sports participation survey, because it used to be an
My deepest apologies.
Sorry?
We're having an emergency. I need to get something from the store.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
My apologies. Sorry.
Yeah, so I can't remember what I was saying. Where was I? So we had the water sports participation survey where we get the number of days fished and the avidity, but that used to be a household survey, so people would go around and ask people how often they fish and various other things. But during COVID, that had to stop, so we had to switch to a modelling approach, and then we recalculated our 2016, 2017 estimates based on that. And then from that, we did an input-output analysis to calculate the flow through the UK economy. So we split by the different relevant UK sectors, and then removed tax and imports. And then you generated the total economic impact, a gross value added, and the total number of jobs created from sea angling in the UK. So this is an overall of the spending. So the average spending per anglers, which is the two sets of bars on the left. They're relatively similar between capital spend and trip spend, slightly less for trip spend than capital. And the split was relatively similar between years. So 2016 trip expenditure was a bit lower, but the trip between 2017 and 2021 was pretty much identical. And then, is everything all right? And then they were still quite similar for the capital spend throughout all of the years. But then when we raised that to the total UK population, that's okay. The split between capital and trip spend stays even, but 2021 becomes lower than both 2016 2017. So that's largely due to a decrease in anglers and days fished. So you can see between the total trip spend between 2016 and 2021 was similar because we had 5.5 million days fished in each year. But then the difference between capital spend changed quite a bit because the anglers dropped from 700,000 to 580,000. But the average spend stayed similar, so it had a general decrease. And the total expenditure in 2021 was 954 million, which was 25% lower than 2017 and 9% lower than 2016. And then this is kind of how it was split between the different categories. So for all years, we had the highest expenditures on rods and reels and fuel, boats, and then food as well, and then lower expenditures on public transport, taxis, car parking, fees and pier fees and various other equipment. And 2021 was lower in pretty much all categories except for boat-related spending, where it was slightly higher for boats and kayaks, engines and charter fees. And then the biggest difference between years was in rods and reels, where in 2021 it was almost 100 million less than 2017, and for tackle, where it was 60 million less. And then this is how it kind of splits into the different UK sectors after we've removed the taxes and imports. So the tax and imports accounted for 341 million in 2021, which was less than 2017 and roughly similar to 2016. And the largest industry across all of them was the wholesale and retail, which was primarily due to the high spend on rods and reels. And then the higher expenditures were in the recreational services, which is from charter fees, repair and maintenance and accommodation services. And then the direct expenditure after tax and imports were removed was 613 million in 2021, which again was lower than 800 in 2017 and nearly 700 million in 2016. And then this is the input-output results. Again, the direct impact in 2021 was 613,000. I think that's right, yeah. And then able to generate the total economic impact, which was 1.3 billion with a gross value added of 306 million, and it supported 11,000 jobs in 2021, which again was 27% lower in 2021 than 2017, and again lower again in 11% lower than in 2016. So overall it was a 1.3 billion economic impact of sea angling in the UK and supports 11,000 jobs. It's generally lower in 2021 than in 2016, 2017, but the spend didn't change too much, so it was mostly due to the differences in anglers. We have repeated the survey, so we're doing it again in 2025. I was hoping to have some results, but we haven't finished that yet. But so we can hopefully see if the trend's continuing or not. And there might also be some COVID impacts that we've not accounted for. So the survey methodology changed, and there might have been some changes in the angler behaviour and expenditures that we haven't been able to account for in that. Thank you. Hopefully that covered it.